Okay. All right, so let's get started. Good morning, everyone. It's Monday. Spring is in the air. It's not technically spring yet. That happens on the 22nd. And so that happens, but I mean, spring is really, really trying hard to come in. We're supposed to have some wet weather this weekend, but we're not going to have any snow down in the valley. Not from what I can see anyway. So spring is trying hard and winter's being a fickle SOB. So anyway, so let's get going here. But as always, we start off with wins, right? Let's see. It's weird because I'm at the Miller and my other screen. There we go. I can't see what the screen says because it's behind me. Okay, there you go. Nope, that's the wrong. Oh my God, I'm on the wrong. I got the wrong thing going on here. Hold on a second. I apologize. I'm on the wrong. I got to get down to the bottom of this thing. Where are we at? Oh, I super apologize. Let's just go back to the main screen and then well, tell me some let's see, one more. So tell me some wins. Let's share some wins. I apologize. It's funny when I'm not on my main computer, everything's the same on every computer, right? The keyboard, all that kind of stuff. But when I'm not sitting in front of my main computer, it seems like I don't know what I'm doing. So anyway, tell me some wins.
Well, I had a listing appointment on Saturday. A listing.
Did you?
Folks want to list their home out in West Jordan and upgrade to a new home. So
sweet.
They need to do some minor repair work in their home to get it ready, but they're anxious to sell their home and buy a new one. So I just
love hearing that.
Suggestions about what they need to get their home ready.
Got it. Good. So what I encourage you to do all the time when you have that scenario is to sign the contract anyway, even if they're not ready. So that's okay, because there's a thing we're all familiar with the reticular activator, right? The reticular activator is you buy a Chevy, you see Chevys, right? So right now, when somebody's thinking about selling their home, they're a Chevy. And so what's happening is they're going to start showing up on other agents' radars. So it's very, very important that when somebody's ready to go, or they're thinking about it, get them signed up as fast as possible. So that way so somebody else doesn't come along and steal them. So, well, where did the appointment come from, Richard?
It was a referral from a previous client from last year that I sold her home, sold her condo.
Isn't that awesome? Yeah.
And she used to be she sold these clients their home, and they called her and said, we're ready to sell. And she said, well, I'm no longer in real estate, but I have this agent that will do a dynamite job, and you need to call him today. So we had a conversation on Friday, and I visited with him on Saturday.
The greatest marketing in all the world is providing quality service, because there's no marketing that beats satisfied clients when they go out and they tell the world, no, this is the guy. There's nothing better than that. Because that third party edification is some of the best marketing that you can't buy that kind of marketing other than, that comes from third party edification. So great job. So great job on taking care of the client last year to where now you got a raving fan of a client. So let me ask you a question. Did you reward the person that sent you the referral?
Yes, I already have. She's in Atlanta, Georgia, so she's got a nice little wonderful gift certificate on the way to her.
Yep. I do it by email. You can literally, when that happens, you can literally jump on Amazon, send them a $50 gift card via email within minutes of them actually doing that. So it's nice to get something in the mail, but man, if you can actually reward them within minutes of the referral. I mean, it doesn't get much better than that.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Good idea.
So, you send them a $50 spiff, even a $25 spiff. It doesn't matter. So, I mean, it's just that's the way to do it. Anybody else got any wins?
I have a list. This is JC. I have a listing appointment on Tuesday.
Go, girl. So, love hearing about these listing appointments.
I'm sorry?
What's that? I said I love hearing about listing appointments. They're the best.
It's actually a previous client that I sold her this house less than 2 years ago, and then I sold her husband a condo in the same area like 8 months later, and they want to sell this one. So it worked out really good.
Yeah, we love hearing that.
Yeah.
So good job, both of you. Listing appointments are where it's at. You've all been in the business enough to know that listings are the gift of the real estate gods, right? So the way the quote is, until we figure out how to market buyers to sellers call us, then you got to get listings, right? Because if you have listings, buyers will come, right? I mean, we're heading into the market where it softens a little bit, but it's hard to say what's going to happen this spring. I mean, we still have a shortage of inventory. So certain price points are going to slow down a little bit. And that's actually opportunity time, right? So never think of anything as, in this business, as a bad thing, right? There's no such thing as a good market, and there's no such thing as a bad market, right? No good and no bad. There's just a buyer's market, and then there's a seller's market, and then there's the shift between the two, right? So that's it. So you can make money in both markets. You just have to understand which market you're in, and then how you make money in that particular market. So anybody else got any wins they'd like to share?
This is Robin. I had 2 listing appointments this week, which was super cool. And
yeah.
One of them I signed for a May 1st list, and the other one, I'm going to get some things done first. So, okay.
Sweet. 4 listing appointments on this phone call today. That's awesome. Anybody? That is awesome. And where did these appointments come from, Robin?
I'm kind of excited how these appointments came. So one of them, I sold a house in Harvardale last year, and one of the neighbors told this neighbor to use me because they watched me sell that other one. And
right.
Then the other one was somebody who met me on a open house I had in Sugar House a couple months ago, and just said they were impressed. So they called me.
Gotta love it. See, again, back to that, there is no greater marketing than doing a great job for your current clients. That's the best marketing you'll ever get. You could spend all the money you want on web leads, but when someone says, this is the person to use, and you go see them and they call you, you're like, okay, it doesn't get any better than that. That's the best marketing you'll ever get. Love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. Anybody else? Who else we got on the call? So anyway, I'm not going to pick on you, but let's see. Well, that's just awesome. I mean, it really is. It's just awesome, awesome, awesome. So then, if nobody else has any wins, let's go into questions. Anybody have any questions or struggles or anything like that? Anybody struggling with anything?
I have a question, actually.
Okay.
I'm trying to gauge how much my advertising and the videos and all this stuff I'm doing extra beyond just posting on the MLS and letting it populate all the national websites. Trying to figure out, like, what's a normal hit rate in terms of views and downloads from, agents and private users. So the listings I have right now, they've been on just about a week.
Okay.
Maybe a little over a week, maybe 10 days. We've got over 20,000 views, and those are specific views to, like, agents that have pulled reports and private people that have pulled searches.
Right. Okay.
So I'm trying to figure out what's typical. Like, I want to be able to go to my clients and say, listen, you were pulled in 20 different searches, and we were only, you only got 2 people that wanted to come see your house out of 20,000 searches. So, like, and I want to be able to say this is a lot of searches. I mean, I think
Right.
it is. It seems like it is, but I don't know, like, what. And I know it's different by area. If you put something up in Sugar House or Harvard Yale, you get just a bazillion hits. It's crazy.
Right. Well, and that's going to vary geographically, and it's also going to vary price points.
Right.
So I don't know. And then you'd have to say, okay, I mean, I can look at, when I log in, I can see all of our stats, right, all of ours. So, but then again, you have to compare it to the same amount of time. Then you have to compare it to the same type of time, right? Meaning, well, 10 days will give you 10 days. But, you know, if you listed it on a Wednesday versus listed on a Friday, you're going to have the same type of results. And I don't know that we could figure that out. You know, I think that would be tough to figure out. I mean, it would take, put it this way, it would take a lot of scraping of data, and then really, it would take a lot of data to really come up with what we would consider might be normal.
Okay.
The MLS may have some, I don't know.
So I'll throw out that what I do in situations like that where I'm trying to figure out how effective things are is look at the average days on market for the area and then compare it to where you're at. So if it, average days on market is 30 days and you're on the market for 10, you've got a third of that. Do you think you've got a chance of a good offer with the amount of showings you have? If not, maybe it is a price issue.
Right. So to me, it really boils down to showings too, like Charles just said. You know, showings are important, right? So, and then we're at the time of year where, I mean, you know, within the 10 days, last 10 days, I mean, we've had, you know, all 4 seasons. So, you know, people, so it's just hard to say. So, I mean, days like this weekend, you know, so when you get a great weekend like we just had, right? Now, is that good for an open house or is that bad? I mean, some theories are, okay, pent-up buyers may be flying out the door to go look at. The other one is, you know, people, pent-up cabin fever means everybody took off for the weekend that did something. You know, so they kind of took a weekend off of real estate, including agents. So it's kind of hard to say, you know. So and again, you have to try and get that data, you're going to need like all these different types of, you know, you're going to have collect so much data over a year or so. And then you really can't, and then if you collect the data over a year, then the market actually changes from the previous year, right? So it's so difficult so the question is, so the short answer is, I don't know, you know. But the long answer is what we just did.
Yeah. Well, I'm kind of feeling like we must be overpriced because we have 20,000 views and 2 showings in 10 days. It makes me just feel like, okay, well, I can't do much more.
Right.
So what I would show information with is just saying, hey, look, my job is to get the house out there. We've got it out there. 20,000 people have seen it in the last week. So, you know, that's just showing some more what you're supposed to do. The rest is up to them. We can only control one of the things, basically. You know, the stuff controls the price and the location, right? So.
Right.
Yeah, we control condition, price, and exposure. So when I look at that, so when Charles said on the right thing, or you said the right thing, you've only had 2 showings. Now, the other thing is too, so showings to me are the most important thing. Now, if you know you had these 20,000 you showed up in 20,000 different views and reports and that kind of stuff, and then you're getting no showings, well, then that tells me that the consumer says, based on the features and benefits that you're offering for the price that you're asking, they don't see the benefit. In other words, they don't consider it a value. And then the other thing is you have to look at your competition. So remember, the appraisal is not the appraisal, if you will, is limited to, you know, kind of a small geographic box, meaning they can only go so many blocks, that the appraiser's stuck with that, but the buyer's not. right? The buyer's not stuck in a geographic box. In other words, a buyer can say, hey, for that kind of money, I can go, I can go 1.5 miles, 3 miles down the road and get twice the house.
Right.
Especially in the Harvard, Yale, Sugar House type of district. And we're kind of in that little bit of a no man's land as far as the time of year. We're not quite spring, ready to move yet for schools, but winter's over, that kind of stuff. So we're feeling good about the weather, but that doesn't mean that the consumers are ready to move yet.
Mm-hmm.
But it's coming. It's just
Right.
part of it's a seasonal thing. So that's kind of
Well, if the average days on market for this price point is about 30 days, and based on what I've just told you, 2 showings, like, do you wait
right.
for 30 days before you try to suggest a price reduction, or?
Well, I start suggesting, so what I do is I would start saying, hey, look, it hasn't been enough time, but I'm not, I would have liked to have seen more showings. However, we're not saying it's panic time, but based on the 10 days, I would have liked to see more than 2 showings. So, but it's also, but let's sit and wait a little bit. Say the average, so you have to kind of look up what are the average days on market in that particular market.
Right.
So once you know what that is, then you can look at your numbers, and then you can have the conversation with the seller and say, look, like I said, you want to start your price adjustment from the moment you start the listing contract. Does that make sense? So in other words, if you start prepping them the moment you sign, then, and if it sells, then it doesn't matter. It's a moot point. But if it doesn't sell, you've already started that conversation. I always call it the reflex no, right? Just like the reflex no. Started at, I asked for the contract at the front door, hey, this is Rob Aubrey. I'm excited about getting your home on the market and getting it sold. Did you want to show me the house first, or did you want to sign the contract, or show me the house first? And they kind of chuckle and say, well, I'll show you the house. Okay, great. Now, I do that intentionally, 1, to get the chuckle, because as soon as they chuckle, they relax. And then 2, that I got the reflex no out of the way.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I do it. So, so anyway, does that help?
Yeah, that's helpful. Thank you.
So,
Thanks, Charles.
Yeah. So don't wait 30 days to start the conversation. Just start hinting at it now.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I do it, or how I like it. So, yeah, they're two different piles. So talking to Amy Sue. Amy's here. We're here for our class now. So anyway, anybody else have any thoughts, questions, concerns, hallucinations? Hello? Is this mic on? So, I take it that's a no. So that was a question. So does anybody else? I'm assuming we all have the same issue when it comes to how do you go for price adjustments, right? So one of the things, you want to use the stats. You want to use the stats in your favor. You want to make sure that anybody that shows, you beat them up and try your best to get feedback from them. So that way, when you send out your weekly email to your seller, right, you tell your seller, we've had, here's the feedback, here's the number of showings we had, and then you could send them, you can even say we've had this many stats. You can pull stats and say, here's the stats, total stats from blah, 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 whatever, right? You can use that information in your email to say, hey, look, we've had, 20,000 views. We've had 2 showings. Out of the 2 showings, I was able to get 1 feedback. And then you put in there, that's the email. And then you just say, and then you type in there, you're going to allude to that, with that number of stats on the report, I would have liked to have seen more showings. So I would just say that's sort of a flag at this point, but not, I'm not ready to, we're not, like I said, it's early to tell, but based on those 2 sets of numbers, I would have liked to have seen more showings. And then what you're doing is you're alluding to the pricing coming up. So when you send that weekly email out to the sellers, then when it's time to ask for the price adjustment, they've already been primed and they're ready. They get it. So the key is, it's important that even though you may call them and tell them what happened, it's better to have a weekly email that you send out. And you let them know. And when you're on the listing appointment, you just let them know. Say, hey, what's the best way to communicate with you? Let's say, what's the best way to communicate for showings? And they say text is fine, that kind of stuff. And just remind them, say, I'm going to send you a weekly email report, right? And whatever day you choose is the day you send it, right? So that you send it on that particular day. And then, and just say, but, I'm also available anytime you want. What is your preferred method of communication? I'm more than happy to call you on the phone and talk to you, or if you just want to have it read the email and send me an email question back, I'm more than happy to do that as well. But the idea is we're heading into this time of market where you need to have a weekly thing going on so that they, that they, so that they're ready. Does that make sense? Very, very important.
Yeah, makes sense.
Very important to have a system. It's all about systems, right? So the system is, you've heard me say before in baseball, right? Now that you don't always hit a home run in baseball. Every at bat, you don't get a home run. Even the home run, the guys that are famous for home run hitters, like Babe Ruth. The other thing that most people don't realize about Babe Ruth, what he held the record for was also, strikeouts. He struck out more than anybody else because he was always swinging for the fence. So, but anyway, so in baseball they have a philosophy: get them on, get them over, and then get them home, right? So get a man on first, steal second, a single, and the guy scores, right? So listing and selling property is the same way, right? Get it listed, get it lowered, get it sold. Right? And sometimes that's the way it is. And sometimes we miss. I'm not afraid. I would rather you underprice it than overprice it, because the reality is you can't underprice it. Because if you underpriced it, what would happen? It would bid up.
Multiple.
Right, and then it bids up the natural market. So you do more harm overpricing than you do underpricing. There's always the fear of leaving money on the table. But we know that if it's underpriced, you're actually, as long as you don't take the first offer that comes in the door, you publish it on a Wednesday, you have an open house on a Saturday, and if it's underpriced, it'll be sold by Monday. So, hope that helps.
Yes,
Excuse
thank
me.
you.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts, questions, concerns, or hallucinations? If not, I am going to go ahead and end the call. I'm going to stop the recording unless it's going once, going twice, going 3 times. Stop.